What's up, everybody? Joe Brown here. This is the Heresy Financial Show, and we just saw Russia has cut off gas supplies from Poland and Bulgaria. Europe is in turmoil right now, and in response to this, we're seeing countries like Italy potentially looking at nationalizing their energy companies. You know what they say, the one in the relationship who cares the least has the most power. And certainly, when you're looking at one party who controls the means of production of real wealth, food and energy, and the other party who controls the means of producing paper money, one of those two is going to care less. Ready? Let's dive in. All right, so take a look with me here at this article that shows Russia has now halted gas supplies to both Poland and Bulgaria. Now, we are seeing a couple of things happen as a result of this. So, number one, Moscow has halted gas supplies because they have not been paying in rubles. This was a demand that Putin made recently, and everybody kind of laughed it off. But the demand stuck, and they actually followed through on their word here. So they cut off supplies from Poland and Bulgaria because payment has not been being made in rubles. Now, it's funny here because European leaders like the president of the European Commission said that their move was another attempt to use gas as an instrument of blackmail. Not really blackmail, just retaliation against their retaliation, which is retaliation against theirs, and on it goes. Either way, though, we don't see an end to the propaganda on both sides here. Now, it's interesting that there's no mention of how many other countries had started paying for gas in rubles, but the gas supplies were flowing normally in most of those other countries. They've just cut off to Poland and Bulgaria so far. Now, it's probably not the whole story, but it might have something to do with why the ruble has basically completely recovered. It hasn't been this high since November of 2021. Despite the sanctions, despite the war, despite losing access to their foreign currency reserves held around the world, their currency value is all the way back up, well back what it was before the invasion. Now, Germany is the biggest buyer of Russian energy, but we can see here that while they can stop importing Russian oil pretty soon here, getting off of natural gas from Russia is a far bigger challenge. And if the cutoffs spread to other countries, this could cause havoc in the region because everybody is just so dependent on Russia. Now, I'm not saying by any means that Russia is immune here. In fact, a Russian economy ministry document said that their economy could shrink by as much as 12.4% this year. So they're not 100% immune to this. They are feeling pain here, but likely nothing near what other countries around the region are feeling. One example of this is Italy, who is saying that they may need to nationalize Lukoil refinery. If sanctions are imposed on Russian oil, they might have to nationalize it. This is Italy's biggest oil refinery, and they used to buy 30 to 40% of its feedstock from Russia. But because of the effects of Russia's invasion, now they have to source pretty much all of their crude oil from their Russian owner, Lukoil. This is because international banks are no longer providing it with credit. This means that if things persist the way they are going for too much longer or get worse, you could see major problems erupt all across Europe. This is in Germany, this is in Italy, this is in Poland, Bulgaria, all over Europe, which is a bad sign given, and I know I talk about this a lot, the balance sheets of the Eurozone banks. If we look at banks like Deutsche Bank and SocGen and a lot of these banks over there, they are highly leveraged. Many times more leveraged than US banks. These are banks that are considered GSIBs, globally systemically important banks. These are banks with balance sheets that are highly leveraged, and they have bets that are supposed to cancel each other out, and they achieve an arbitrage between the two positions. But when unexpected things happen, your positions move against each other, potentially. And war, an invasion, and sanctions, and unexpected moves happening in currencies that are failing around the world, given the fact that the dollar is rising so rapidly, these are all events that could cause major catastrophes on the balance sheets of some of these highly over-leveraged banks. All right, and bonus add-on here, something that happened while I was editing this video that I wanted to make sure I included in here. Russia has rejected German gas payment from a seized trading unit. So this is kind of a big deal. Russia's major gas bank has rejected a payment from a trading firm that Germany seized from Moscow's control. And so this is interesting because the company was trying to pay for the fuel using rubles. So a lot of these countries in Europe have just gone to what Russia said, and they've been paying in rubles, and everybody's been kind of turning a blind eye, even nobody wants that to happen. And then the ones that haven't, obviously like Poland and Bulgaria, they've been shut out. But even this one, they were trying to pay in rubles, and this was it was previously under the direction of the Russian state gas producer Gazprom, and Germany took them over earlier this month. And now, even though they're trying to pay with rubles, Russia is saying no. Now, this could potentially be a big deal. This is not a huge portion of fuel that Europe needs to get from Russia, but for Germany, we'll have to wait and see how this unfolds, because Germany is very reliant on Russia for gas. And so the real question here is, who will be the last man standing? Who will be able to outlast all the craziness and be around to pick up all the chips that have fallen and take ownership of the assets and take ownership of everything that has been lost by the players who are playing too aggressively? Only time will tell. As always, thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great day.